All right, welcome back to the channel. Today's gonna be a little different video. I'm gonna be throwing three movies at you that I pretty much recommend. I found some enjoyment on them. They all have a different subgenre of horror, so three might tickle your fancy, or maybe one will, maybe none will. But I do think this is a pretty solid list for this past month. And before we dive in, I just want to say thank you for clicking on the video. Thank you for the subscribers who tune back in. Do appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please be sure to do so. I promise you won't regret it. We got a lot of good stuff coming soon. The goal here is just sending out three fun horror recommendations. Here we got more of a Lovecraftian horror in one. We got a Giallo love letter. And then speaking of love letters, the third one is like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre love letter. So what I'm going to do is kind of briefly talk about them. It won't be super long reviews. This will all be spoiler free, by the way, so feel free to stick it out. Yeah, we're going to dive in what I liked, things I think could have been better, and then just move on to the next one. The number one on the list is The Deep Dark. This one is was one that was on my radar for a while when I saw a little article about it. I think it was on Bloody Disgusting, but it said basically Lovecraftian horror movie coming soon. When I hear that, bam, you know I'm saving that. So I added it onto my watch list. Got a notification it's available for rent. So that night, rented that bad boy. Overall, I did have fun with this one. I was a little underwhelmed with a few aspects of it, but for the majority, it was a pretty decent, fun Lovecraftian horror flick. You basically got this group of miners. They're going down, digging up some treasures and gold and all that, but they have this one professor who tags along with them, and we don't really know why until it's slowly revealed that, boom, this guy is looking for something that's not money. So through all that, that's kind of where that Lovecraftian element comes into play. And they also do a couple Lovecraft quote drops in here. So that was really cool to see, just seeing some H.P. Lovecraft work go into a movie. The creature design too was neat. It was practical, so that was also really cool to see. I love there's this one scene where it's kind of lights going on and off, and the way it's moving through the corridor of the dark mine tunnel, and just the, like I said, the lights from the camera, that was pretty eerie. And it almost, this monster looks like a nightmaric General Grievous, if that makes sense, from Star Wars Episode 3. So something about this creature I thought was pretty creepy, especially those far away shots where you just see it creeping through the mine shaft. And there is a pretty cool scene with a decapitated head. That's all I'll say. So something about this film too is it is a little bit more of a slow burn than I would have liked. I would have cared for this movie to go. It took about an hour or so for the creature to come in. The movie's about 90 minutes, so once the creature does come, it's a good 30-minute thrill with the creature. It's pretty go, go, go with the creature at that point. But yeah, that hour slow buildup is more for that character development. So it is there for a purpose, but in this kind of movie, I felt like a little bit less character development on some aspects. Still would have been fine. There's kind of another plot with the miner, why he wants this job. The main miner that we're following, like why he wants this job, why the people around him won't go into there. I won't go into details on that. I think it's kind of fun to discover along the way while you're watching. The character development in there just took a little bit of thrills away from it. But all that being said, if you do enjoy like that Lovecraftian horror element, kind of that forbidden knowledge, creatures coming from that forbidden side, and you were fans of like the movies Alien, we're in those tight corridor spaces with a creature going around, or even like The Scent, kind of that underground cave aspect, you're going to really find a lot of that flavor in this movie. So this is probably one that you're going to want to check out. All right, the second one, this is that Giallo flavor one. This one's Death by Dawn. Another one that I think could have been so much better if it had a little bit more of a coherent story going on. So basically, this is, you're a fan of that Giallo, the color, that Italian slice of like slasher film. This is definitely going to be up your alley, and especially if you like more of that style over the style over substance aspect, you're going to eat this up, because I won't lie, style here was a lot of flavor going on, a lot of cool neon lights, a lot of cool dance sequences shot the way they were shot. Even some of the kills, the way they displayed on screen was a really good time. There's one kill that kind of reminded me of a Fulci flick. So if you eat that Italian horror up, this is definitely one that I think you might even enjoy a little bit more than I did. At the end of the day, did have fun with it. But that huge act two is where that style over substance really shines here. And there's aspects you're just like, what am I watching right now? What am I following along right now? and like even the plot's a little bit forgettable. I saw this a few weeks back, and I'm kind of blanking on it, but I remember the opening did tease a little bit of that Lovecraftian side again. And I was like, whoa, two Lovecraftian flicks. 'Cause I just had seen After Dark a few, might have been a week before this one or something, but I was like, this is awesome. Usually you don't see Lovecraftian a lot in movies, so I was like, that too. But that opening, didn't really do anything with it. A little bit in Act 3, but not a whole lot. So that was kind of disappointing on my end. It's just a flavor of mine. I was like, oh, you got the forbidden knowledge, occult books, those Lovecraftian elements, and they didn't do anything with them. Killer in here, really cool design. It's a mask just full of these eyeballs, and it was just very unique. Again, if they had more of that Lovecraftian side that they teased in the beginning and had it relate to all of that a little bit more, I think that really would have shined and made this killer just a little bit more memorable. That being said, though, he does look badass. So face full of eyes. It's almost like a Shoggoth is on his head. If have any H.P. Lovecraft fans listening to this and you guys know what the Shoggoth is, it looks like that on his head. He's running around killing these teenagers. Again, Act 2 kind of drags on that side too. Like I said, it's just really a lot of style over substance in that Act 2. But then when he comes back with the vengeance towards Act 3, it's pretty go, go, go again. And the ending, again, keeping this all spoiler free, so I don't want to dive too much, but the ending is interesting enough. Reveals kind of whatever, but the things that happen, it gets kind of weird and kind of almost like the 80s, 70s again, and you're just like, well, this is weird, but in a good time. So the ending did bump it up a little bit for me, but I think it could have been a much stronger film. But if you really do like these kind of flicks, the cinematography, that cool like style going on, a stylistic look throughout the film, cool killer, like I said, definitely put this on your radar. All right, and the third one on this list is one that you may have heard of already. It did get a little bit more press release and a lot more buzz than the previous two, I believe, but this one also did get a theatrical release last month in March and just came out on Shudder April 24th, and this is Dolly. So I didn't get to see this one at the AMC. The ones that were playing at, it was a little bit farther, and the show times didn't work out the best, so unfortunately missed the few days it was out in theaters, but caught it on streaming when it released. And I will say that the aesthetic of this was really something that I really dug about it. It has that 70s 16 millimeter film look to it. It kind of reminded me of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for example, that original, that grainy look that it has throughout the film. Also things like Terrifier, where it has that modern stylized look on that old like grindhouse grain. So it was something like that where you just, every shot mostly where you're just like in like, if you really love that look, you're gonna really dig this scene. There's a scene where like this character is in this room in a crib, and like there's the blue moonlight, and it just looks like you just traveled in time. It was cool that way. So the aesthetic of this film is really the highest point of it. Again, I think this was kind of advertised to be a little bit like a slasher, but it's not too much of a slasher. The budget is low, and what they used for their budget was great, but that also means lower casts. And so there's not a lot of kills in this. This is almost more like a psychological horror with slasher seasoning on it, because there are slasher kills in this, but you're not getting one like every act like slasher films. So keep that in mind when you're going into this one. If you're looking for a slasher film, this might not be the one, but this is something definitely to check out if you like that flavor. But although this isn't, like I said, a typical slasher, the kills that do get on screen, Dolly uses a shovel like Jason's machete. She just goes at it, goes beast mode, some clever kills with a shovel. So if you kind of like that Carnage candy, that's something to keep in mind. Dolly herself was pretty creepy looking, and this little mannerisms that she did throughout the movie was pretty weird and kind of reminded me of Leatherface at times, and just really added to that character that something isn't right with Dolly. Even though you have that mask on, one cracked eye, doing some creepy stuff in your house, something's still not right with her when she adds in that flavor. So it kind of takes that performance above and beyond, and was kind of fun to see. Our main lead could have used a little bit of work. There was some scenes that I think could have been hit harder, psychologically too, just being like a little bit uncomfortable and being like, this is really messed up. But you kind of get distracted from that, just from the acting that's going on screen. Kind of pulls you out a little bit. And this isn't on the actress either, but it's on the script. But there are a ton of like, what are we doing here moments when it comes to escaping that house. So let me jump to the plot. So like I said, it's not really like a slasher film per se. Basically, a couple goes on a hiking trip, and one of them gets taken by the doll looking person and keeps her in the house and starts to mother her per se. So she's mothering her, and more happens throughout the film, which I won't touch on because that's kind of fun to see unfold. But there are chapters in this movie, so sometimes the chapters do kind of give you a hint at what's to come. So that was also kind of like a what? Come on, like maybe different chapter names, or this movie didn't even need chapters at all. It kind of added a pretentious touch to it that didn't need to be there. Like I said, some of the titles are kind of spoil what's going on. Yeah, so like I said, she's trapped in the house being mothered, and there's so many chances to escape, and she just doesn't. Or when she does try to take down Dolly, it's like one stab, leaves it into a spot that isn't fatal, and then runs away. And it's like no double tapping, no double stabs, no like taking and going beast mode. It's just like stab, leave in, run away. And it kind of repeats itself a little bit. So there's a lot of chances that this character could have left, but she didn't. So you know that going in, there's gonna be a little bit of character choices that you're like, what's going on? But like I previously said, the whole tone and the whole vibe of the film, the way it looks is aesthetically pleasing. So it does throw you back into those times. And you know, it's a good late night fun horror flick to watch. That's, like I said, a love letter to those 70s films, those backwoods films, most notably being the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, it was a good time, and I would be interested to see if this did spawn a sequel or a little mini franchise. What could come from this character and this setting and this story going forward with a little bit bigger budget and cast next time, and see what kind of route they go. Will they go more like psychological and mothering on like this? They did this one and kind of expand on that, or will they go full on slasher with a Dolly character? Who knows? But kind of interested to see what this series can go. So all right, so there we have it. Three horror recommendations that I watched throughout the past month. These are the three that I wanted to hop on camera and kind of talk briefly about them. Three recommendations that I think anybody would enjoy. We got different subgenres in that list, which makes it exciting. Lovecraftian, Giallo, and those grindhousey type films. So the three options right there. If you do end up checking any of these out, let me know in the description. Let me know in the comment section down below. We'd love to hear what you think about them. Have a little conversation about the movie too. I'll love to chat these movies up. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please be sure to do so. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. But yeah, we got a lot more content coming soon, so don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video too, be sure to hit that like button. And I do have my letterbox in the description box down below. If you want to follow me on there and see what I'm watching throughout the month, it's a lot of fun on that app. So I'll have that down below. I can't say it enough, but thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And as always, keep watching those movies, because those movies won't watch themselves.